Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 6, Battle for the True Inheritance. Chapter 130, 671, The Third Generation of Immortal Ascension Beings. 130th of Volume 6. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. You were ambushed by the Grand Palace Master. Nangong said, forcing a bitter smile. To be honest, I never imagined the older generation would thrust us into the spotlight overnight, forcing us to bear burdens that aren't ours. Don't laugh, but the pressure is immense. I only dare voice this to you too. She continued, 3 years of conflict, 10 days of Immortal Ascension competition. The third generation of Immortal Ascension beings is responsible for territorial disputes and treasure conflicts. For territorial disputes, contested regions, cities, prefectures, mineral veins, and so on, are inscribed onto jade tomes, which each Immortal Ascension being carries. Every Immortal Ascension being must carry at least one jade tome, representing either a prefectural capital, a county seat, or even an entire province. The Immortal Ascension beings from opposing sides can only engage in combat within the disputed territory. For example, the Wolf Solitary Wilderness, a disputed region between the Demon Kingdom and the Holy Dynasty, spans 36 provinces. Immortal Ascension being carrying jade tomes from both sides can only compete for these scrolls within this territory. Based on the current situation, the conflict in the Wolf Solitary Wilderness will likely be concentrated among the 7th generation of Immortal Ascension beings. The Demon Kingdom's 9th generation Immortal Ascension beings will undoubtedly focus entirely on seizing the life-preserving Spring Jade Scroll and the Life Spring Jade Scroll. This brings us to the rules governing treasure conflicts. The competition for the treasures is restricted to the disputing parties, with no geographical limitations. You can lead the battlefield anywhere you wish, to the East Sea, the Lingxiao Life Realm, or the vast Sea Rice Realm, as long as you dare to cross the Nether Realm of the Dead. However, space teleportation formations are strictly prohibited. Furthermore, you cannot hide within pre-arranged formations. There are numerous restrictions in place. Lu Yi remarked, in reality, everyone is still confined to the 100 Realms of Life domain. No one dares to venture deep into the Nether Realm of the Dead. Li Wei nodded slowly. Now I understand what Mo Duanfang meant by tempering the younger generation. This is not merely a competition, it's a trial by fire for the human clan's most exceptional talents, a crucial step on their path to cultivation. The human high-ranking officials is using this to hone the wisdom and administrative capabilities of the young martial mystic cultivators with the greatest potential. He then asked, is it possible to simply take the jade tome, hide it, and wait 3 years? You could try, but it's practically impossible. Nangong continued, this year, on New Year's Eve, a grand announcement ceremony will be held in Xiaoyao capital. All 9th generation Immortal Ascension beings participating in the competition must attend to claim their jade tomes. Failure to do so will be considered forfeiture. We will have 15 days to escape the Demon Kingdom. The fighting will begin immediately after dawn on the Xuanhuan festival. During our journey to the Xiaoyao capital, the Demon Kingdom will exhaust every means to track our vital energy. Only 9th generation Immortal Ascension beings can directly engage us, but those secretly tracking us might not be bound by the same rules. Although older generations are forbidden from interfering, who could detect you Baxian personally sending a message to Jiyu Junxiang? Nangong smiled bitterly. Of course, the martial mystic Dao Heavenly Emperor wouldn't stoop to personally hunting down a group of juniors, that would be utterly humiliating. Jiyu Junxiang and his group are no fools, they must have a foolproof plan. Lu Yi said, regardless, this rule works to our advantage. Li Wei's eyes lit up slightly. If such a rule exists, does that mean there are many contested treasures in the 100 Realms Immortal Ascension competition? Exactly. These treasures are typically categorized by rank, and some are even supreme spiritual artifacts, true scriptures, or the remains of ancient immortal giant beasts, Nangong explained. Li Wei looked puzzled. Why would such a situation arise? Why would someone relinquish a treasure they've already obtained for others to compete over? Let me tell you a story, Nangong said. Have you heard of the 72-page Earth book? Li Wei nodded. Every page written by the sect sage is worth a fortune. If the 72 pages of the Earth book were complete, it wouldn't just be one of the human clan's 3 great immortal scriptures, alongside the heavenly god Dao diagram and the immortal canon, but also an immensely powerful immortal artifact. Nangong continued, 1,000 years ago, during the Great Netherworld Calamity, the clan head of the Puyan clan from the Zongsheng Academy rushed to the border of the Sword Dao Imperial Court to help defend against the army of the dead. But he died in battle. The Sword Dao Imperial Court returned the clan head's body to the Puyan clan, but secretly kept the 9 pages of the Earth book that had been on his person. Later, when this treachery came to light, the Puyan clan confronted the Sword Dao Imperial Court. Our clan head went to your aid in your hour of greatest need and died for you. Yet you secretly stole the true scripture cultivation law that forms the foundation of our clan's existence. The Bai clan of the Sword Dao Imperial Court responded, the 9 pages of the Earth Book were seized by our ancestor from the dead spirits at the cost of his life. They were never taken from the Puyan clan head. Each side claimed righteousness, and the conflict escalated through countless disputes. Transcendent beings clashed, resulting in the deaths of hundreds of thousands of innocent people, and the situation grew increasingly dire. Eventually, the Puyan clan amassed a massive army on the border of the Sword Dao Imperial Court, preparing for a final, desperate showdown. Having reached this point, the Sword Heavenly Emperor and the surrounding Life Realm Lords naturally couldn't stand idly by. They urged both sides to negotiate peace. But the situation only worsened as everyone began taking sides. The Bai clan patriarch asked the world, should treasures seized from the dead spirits now be returned to their original owners? The Puyan clan asked the world, if the dead spirits attack again, will the martial cultivators of the various living realms still come to their aid? Finally, under mounting pressure from all sides, the Bai clan patriarch reluctantly conceded, and the 9-page Earth Book was added to the list of treasures in the 100 Realms Immortal Ascension competition. The Puyan clan's actual strength paled in comparison to the Bai clan's. They had only dared to stand firm because they held the moral high ground. This compromise was barely acceptable, forcing them to also retreat. From then on, the Puyan clan's foremost member in each Jiazi cycle vowed to reclaim the Earth Book as their life's mission. Such tangled debts are commonplace across the 100-plus living realms of southern Yingzhou. If the human high-ranking officials didn't intervene, these factions would have long since descended into all-out war. How else could we have maintained a millennium of peace? The treasures held in trust by the 100 Realms Immortal Ascension competition number in the hundreds, if not thousands. Li Yi nodded, beginning to understand. So it's essentially a system that allows people to seek justice and reclaim their rightful possessions. If I accidentally seize the jade tome of a particular treasure, it would become mine. No, Nangong said, the competition for treasures is strictly limited to the Immortal Ascension beings from the opposing sides. The 100 Realms Immortal Ascension competition is meant to dispel conflict, not complicate it further by allowing third-party interference. Li Weiyi's face immediately fell with disappointment. However, if you genuinely stumble upon a jade tome by accident, you can approach either side and negotiate a substantial reward. The condition is that the human high command believes you haven't violated the rules and doesn't disqualify you, Nangong added. Li Weiyi, knowing there were bound to be loopholes in the rules, waved his hand with a smile. Let's get back to our own affairs. How did that region bordering the Demon Kingdom and Holy Hall Life Realm, the area that had regained its light, become a contested zone? The demon monarch proposed it himself. The region spans roughly 3 prefectures, with the Holy Hall Life Realm and Demon Kingdom each claiming half. The specific allocation will be decided during the 100 Realms Immortal Ascension competition, Nangong explained. Li Weiyi chuckled. This is deliberate. Their goal is to confine the battlefield to that area. Once we withdraw from Xiaoyao capital, they'll simply activate the Great Wall Formation's defenses, trapping us in the Demon Kingdom and forcing us to fight on their terms. The clan chief has already considered this. Nangong sighed, but if they offer it to us and we refuse, we might never get another chance to claim it in the future. How should we respond? Li Weiyi asked. We'll detour through the chaos zone, Nangong replied. That would mean being hunted relentlessly while the enemy waits in ambush, crossing the Great Wall Formation at their leisure and without worrying about us hiding. We'd lose all our advantages, turning from the aggressor into the prey, Li Weiyi countered, unconvinced. He fell into deep thought. Nangong Yu sighed softly, what other choice do we have? Seek refuge with the Holy Dynasty. Or the Sword Dao Imperial Court. With the demon monarch's bounty hanging over our heads, we can't even trust some within our own ranks without resorting to manipulation. How could we possibly trust another faction? The discussion continued that afternoon. Li Weiyi didn't participate. After advising Nangong to seize an opportunity to establish absolute authority and leadership, he retreated to a cave dwelling on the ancestral mountain of the Void Ruins ancient clan to focus on cultivation. Regardless of the situation they would face, greater strength meant greater control. Otherwise, they wouldn't even survive the Demon Kingdom's first wave of attacks, let alone 3 years. During this period, Li Weiyi couldn't cultivate in the nether domain for extended periods or enter the cocoon of time. Instead, he remained in his cave dwelling, refining the dragon soul origin light and condensing his 4th soul, the strength soul. Time flew by, and half a year passed. Both clusters of dragon soul origin light had been completely refined and absorbed. Li Weiyi was startled awake by a call outside his cave dwelling. He inwardly examined his immortal golden core, carefully sensing the spiritual chi within his body, and concluded that he still needed to refine at least 2 more clusters of dragon soul origin light to reach the mid-stage of the 3rd immortal realm. As Yu Yaozi had warned, the value of dragon soul origin light was diminishing. Fortunately, his strength soul was nearing completion. Reaching the 4th realm of Holy Spiritual Master before the grand announcement ceremony should be no problem at all. Whoosh! Li Wei opened the stone gate and looked at Nangong standing outside the formation's luminous barrier. Spring and summer had passed outside. Behind Nangong's captivatingly beautiful figure stretched a mountain ablaze with crimson autumn foliage. The season's essence was rich. As his cultivation deepened, time seemed to accelerate, causing him to miss many of life's precious moments. We're setting out. We'll head to Xiaoyao capital tomorrow, led by the deputy sentinel lord, Nangong announced. Isn't it still more than 3 months until the end of the year? The journey will take at least 2 months to prepare for, including mapping out evacuation routes. Besides, we're already late. Immortal Realm martial mystic cultivators from all the living realms have long since arrived in Xiaoyao capital. We need to get there early to establish contact with the leaders of various major powers and discuss potential collaborations. Nangong wore a mask, emulating Tang Wanzhou's attire, a high-collared black robe, a martial garment belt, and an aura of profound gravitas. She exuded an air of heroic efficiency. In the past 6 months, she had accomplished much. The Void Ruins ancient clan, the Holy Hall, and the 3 ancient sects no longer dared to defy her will. Li Wei stepped out of the formation's shimmering veil and walked alongside Nangong along the mountain path, their footsteps crunching on fallen leaves as they discussed the Void Ruins ancient clan arrangements in detail. So, you've decided to make the battlefield the disputed area outside the Great Wall Formation, in the 3 prefectures. Li Wei frowned slightly, disliking the feeling of being led by the enemy. Nangong replied, if we can't hold the disputed area, we can immediately retreat to the Holy Hall Life Realm. The terrain advantage is one reason, but another is our unique asset, the Chun silkworm. Li Wei's expression cleared with understanding. If the battlefield is near the Holy Hall Life Realm, our clan can continuously cultivate Chun cocoons and provide them to martial mystic cultivators on the verge of breakthroughs, greatly enhancing their cultivation. Elsewhere, the Demon Kingdom's elders would undoubtedly obstruct us at every turn, Nangong explained. I fear human plans often fall short of divine will. The enemy will surely thwart our plans. I may not be able to accompany you, I must return to the Cave Void camp. Before heading to the Xiaoyao capital, Li Wei needed to ensure Yao Qingshan obtained her Xiaoyang guard identity. Moreover, with over a year having passed, he could now enter the nether domain for cultivation, eager to seize every moment to advance his cultivation realm. The next day, at the foot of the ancestral mountain of the Void Ruins ancient clan, 100-jong long black jade spiritual artifact warship rested on the ground, shrouded in a swirling mist of formation. Lord Lu Tianshan of the rainforest habitat stood proudly at the ship's bow, watching the Immortal Realm martial mystic cultivators below bid farewell to their parents, siblings, confidants, wives, concubines, and children. A silent sigh escaped his lips. In other living realms, Immortal Realm martial mystic cultivators could simply surrender their jade tomes to withdraw from the competition. But could these warriors do the same? The clan chief of the Void Ruins ancient clan had undoubtedly denied them the option of surrendering their Lifespring jade scrolls. The Immortal Realm martial mystic cultivators below and their families clearly understood that this journey meant fighting to the death. The farewells were agonizing, like parting from the living. Children wept, clinging to their loved ones. Elders sighed, wanting to plead for them to stay but finding no words. I'll be back in Xiaoyao capital before New Year's Eve. Have the Heavenly Pavilion prepare the wine and dishes in advance. We'll celebrate the new year together and crush the Demon Kingdom. Yes. Crush the Demon Kingdom. Nangong and Lu Yi shouted in unison. Li Wei smiled, his optimism unwavering. He waved goodbye to Nangong and Lu Yi, watching the spiritual artifact warship gradually recede into the mist until it vanished. Then he turned back toward the ancestral mountain, intending to seek out the great elder of the Void Ruins ancient clan and demand the Chun cocoon. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 6, Battle for the True Inheritance. Chapter 131, 672, The Great Holy Spiritual Master Li Wei. 131st of Volume 6. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. The flow of time within the Chun cocoon is far too accelerated, like forcing a seedling to grow beyond its natural pace. During your last visit to the Void Ruins ancient kingdom, your bodies were severely overexerted. You need at least 3 to 5 years of recuperation under normal time flow before using the Chun cocoon again. This is the wisdom we've accumulated over the past century. The aged voice echoed from the tower above. Heavy footsteps thumped down the stairs. The great elder emerged from the tower gate, which shimmered with formation light veil. His deeply wrinkled hands cradled a half-foot-long, exquisitely crafted green jade box. He gazed at the exceptional young man standing motionless at the foot of the steps and continued, "Your talent is extraordinary, and the Grand Palace Master holds you in the highest regard. Having lived over 500 years, I've come to understand many things. Let me share something I shouldn't say. The value of your martial mystic potential and future achievements far surpasses that of the life spring. Don't let your eagerness for the life spring drive you to ruin your body, it would be a grave loss. If you ever face a truly desperate situation, surrender the jade tome of the life spring to save your life. Nothing is more important. Ah, old age has made me long-winded. This junior understands, Li Wei replied. He could sense the Great Elder's genuine concern, a stark contrast to the mindset of the young Immortal Realm martial mystic cultivators who were preparing to fight to the death in Xiaoyaojing. The Great Elder handed Li Wei the green jade box. The Grand Palace Master instructed us to prepare this for you. It contains spiritual pills for healing and holy psychic star pills. There aren't many, a dozen or so in total, but it's all we can spare. You saw how the young cultivators who departed earlier each received a share. We'll refine more later. Hopefully, we'll have the chance to send them to you. Each spiritual pill was worth a fortune. Healing spiritual pills, in particular, were life-saving medicines that could restore a severely injured Immortal Realm martial mystic cultivator to full combat readiness in an instant. In the Void Ruins Ancient Kingdom, if Li Wei had possessed such healing pills, he could have faced numerous crises with ease. Having over a dozen prepared for him alone was a substantial quantity. Thank you. I will give it my all, Li Wei said. Just bring Xiao Bai back safely. People are more important than the spring. The Great Elder smiled bitterly. Time flows much more gently in the Nether Domain. You can enter the Nether Domain to cultivate first. 2 Chun silkworms have already reached their 5th stage of development, so there should be enough time. We'll send them to you then. 2 cocooning cycles shouldn't be a problem. You can judge for yourself. Li Wei could sense the Great Elder's pessimism about the upcoming conflict. Nangong is from the Shaoyang division, while I am the Holy Commander. If she's in danger, I will never stand idly by. I believe you. You've proven it before. The Great Elder waved his arm gently and re-entered the tower gate. In the Void Ruins Ancient Kingdom, Chun City. While half a year had passed outside, 5 years had elapsed within the Zhu Li clan's cultivation zone in Chun City. Li Wei arrived at the entrance of the Mountain Valley cultivation zone and stepped inside. The area was eerily quiet. He looked up at Li Ling, who was guarding the defensive formation. Is everyone in seclusion? Li Ling sat cross-legged atop a 20-jong high stone hill, her crimson robes absorbing the radiant light of the Void Ruins. Some are outside the city, cultivating medicinal fields, planting spiritual grain, and building manors. My father said that the Void Ruins Ancient Kingdom has vast lands and a sparse population, offering tremendous development opportunities. The only problem is that too few clan members have come here. Li Wei sighed inwardly. Lao Li was too preoccupied with worldly affairs. Suddenly, an idea struck him. How about a trade? Help me raise silkworms in the blood mud space for a year, and you can name the terms. Chun silkworms required 3 years of cultivation before they could spin cocoons. Li Wei possessed 5 silkworm eggs. After calculating the time, he realized he could raise them in the Nether Domain for 2 years, then transfer them to the blood mud space for the final year. Chun silkworms were delicate creatures that demanded meticulous care and constant attention. He couldn't spare the focus required for this task himself. Li Ling was the perfect choice because she knew about the blood mud space. Chun silkworms. Having lived in Chun City for 5 years, Li Ling was well informed. Without hesitation, she agreed. When you have the chance, bring another group of our clan members here. My father wants to cultivate another branch of the Zhu Li clan in the Void Ruins Ancient Kingdom. That's my condition. That condition. You don't know how to value favors. I rarely owe favors to others. Li Wei chuckled. I possess abundant cultivation resources now, enough to make your eyes green with envy. If old Li had asked for this, Li Wei would never have refused. After laughing, Li Wei fell into a wistful mood, his gaze darkening. Perhaps this was kinship. When he gave Li Songgu the true spiritual pill, Li Songgu immediately thought of Li Ling. And Li Ling, in turn, immediately thought of relieving her father's burdens. Entering the valley, Li Wei shattered the defensive formation of Hidden 24's cave abode with a resounding boom. He rushed inside, forcibly dragging her out. For the next 2 years in the Nether Domain, you will raise silkworms for me, Li Wei ordered. Hidden 24 nearly lost her mind. She had almost suffered a spiritual chi reversal from the shock, and her internal energy remained chaotic. You're the Grand Palace Master's Dao Technique successor. The Lingxiao Palace has countless people at your command. Why waste 2 years of my time on such a trivial task? There are no conditions to negotiate. You will do as you're told. If even one silkworm dies, you'll regret it. Li Wei tossed her 5 silkworm eggs, a vial of extreme daybreak light dew from the Fusong Divine Tree, and a waste token. If you don't understand something, consult the silkworm raisers of the Void Ruins Ancient Clan. Ignoring her protests, he clasped his hands behind his back and ascended the mountain peak to the right of the valley. There, he sat in meditation, continuing to refine his strength soul. Hidden 24 stood rooted in the valley for a long time, finally calming her spiritual chi. She glared at the figure on the mountain peak, her fists clenched. With a furious stomp, she stormed out of the valley to learn silkworm cultivation. Years passed in eternal daylight, as Chun City knew no night. Whoosh! After an unknown duration, a fourth soul spiritual light coalesced above Li Wei's head. He immediately ceased his meditation, his eyes snapping open, pupils blazing with intense spiritual energy. The strength soul had been refined to perfection. Li Wei began condensing his 40th psychic power star and initiating soul fusion, aiming to break through to the fourth realm of Holy Spiritual Master. From the mid-grade spiritual pills he had exchanged at Cave Void Camp, he had used only 5 of the 7 Holy Psychic Star pills, leaving 2 remaining. He took out one as a reserve, determined that this breakthrough attempt must succeed without fail. He then retrieved the rainbow incense given to him by Li Songgu. A wisp of spiritual light flame materialized at his fingertip, igniting the incense. Whoosh! A 7-colored mist billowed outward, flowing like a stream and twisting sinuously as it dispersed into the air. A fragrance akin to sandalwood, yet also reminiscent of burning incense candles, filled his nostrils. Instantly, Li Wei's mind became profoundly serene, a sensation both mystical and profound. The fourth wisp of soul spiritual light above his head, which had been flickering erratically, gradually stabilized. After inserting the rainbow incense into a crevice in the rock, Li Wei sat cross-legged beside it, palms facing upward, and activated the Fusong Divine Tree meditation technique. Immediately, moonlight from the surrounding heavens and earth surged ceaselessly toward the spirit realm between his eyebrows. Within the spirit realm, the 39 psychic power stars began to rotate in a specific pattern. Within each psychic power star, Dao patterns shimmered into existence. They shimmered like a sky full of stars. Whoosh! All the spiritual light flames coalesced into countless streams, converging toward the 39 psychic stars, seeking the 40th position. In Li Wei's mind, images and scriptures from all the psychic power cultivation manuals he had studied surfaced. Knowing the difficulty of forming the 40th psychic star, he repeatedly simulated the process, attempting it again and again. The 7-colored mist emanating from the rainbow incense enveloped the mountaintop, coating the soil and rocks in a layer of iridescent light. After 6 hours, 3 inches of the rainbow incense had burned away. Li Wei swallowed the holy spiritual star pill he had placed beside him. His body instantly lit up like an immortal lantern, his skin and flesh becoming as translucent as jade and ice. The radiant glow emanating from his figure on the mountaintop could be seen from dozens of miles away. The mid-grade spiritual pill lived up to its reputation. Upon entering his body, the 40th psychic star rapidly coalesced within Li Wei's spirit realm. Soul fusion was the most dangerous stage. Yet this time, it proceeded as smoothly as water flowing into a channel. Guided by the 7-colored bridge of light from the rainbow incense, the strength soul and spirit light merged without resistance, completing the soul fusion flawlessly. Lingxiao Palace, rear hall of Qilin Terrace Hall. The third palace master rose from beside the activation formation of the space teleportation formation. Through the 10-jong-wide window of the Purplewood Palace, her bright, star-like eyes gazed at the distant mountain peak shrouded in pale blue mist. There, the radiance of void ruins flowed like 1,000 rivers converging toward the young man's brow. A look of astonishment crossed her face. He's already a great holy spiritual master. That's too fast. In the valley where the Zhu Li clan cultivated, stone gates opened one after another. The commotion drew everyone out, and they began to murmur excitedly. A great holy spiritual master. Li Songgu stroked his beard and smiled. Hidden 24, standing beside a silkworm basket, heard the news and her eyes widened in shock before a restrained smile appeared on her face. Though the man had always targeted her, she had clearly sensed a complete shift in the attitudes of cultivators from the Lingxiao Palace and the Holy Hall's life realm toward her after she used Li Wei's token to study with the Void Ruins ancient clan. Even the Immortal Realm experts treated her with utmost courtesy. Li Wei hastily extinguished the half-burned rainbow incense. This mystical substance was incredibly potent, greatly aiding holy spiritual masters in breaking through realms, so it needed to be used sparingly. He then resumed absorbing moonlight to solidify his realm. Outside the valley, many cultivators arrived to pay their respects, all of whom Li Wei had Li Songgu handle, except for one. Tai Shi Bai. Once his realm had stabilized, Li Wei descended from the mountain peak and strode toward the handsome figure sitting alone by the stream. He greeted his former friend with a teasing smile. You, Tai Shi Bai, never visit without a reason. Tell me, what's the matter? Just ask, and I'll help. Tai Shi Bai stood up, his gaze complex as he looked at Li Wei. He retrieved a cosmic pouch from his sleeve. My grandfather asked me to deliver these spiritual pills to you. He personally refined them recently. He said that the talismans and formations crafted by the older generation are forbidden, so this is all he can offer. If you can't win, surrender immediately. Don't let the Grand Palace Master manipulate you completely, she's not your. The name, Yuer, was known to many. Li Weiyi's smile faded as he accepted the spiritual pills, understanding their special significance. He knew Duke Taishi had refined them because of the Zhenhai Guanwu's visions. Take me to see Senior Taishi, Li Weiyi said, I want to thank him in person. Taishi Bai shook his head. My grandfather said you don't need to visit. He'd be awkward and wouldn't know how to interact with you. Just leave it at this. I must return to report. Ah, I truly wish I could fight alongside you. Taishi Bai, let's drink together when I get back. Bring your brother. After seeing Taishi Bai off, Li Weiyi fell into deep thought. Both the great elder of the Void Ruins ancient clan and Duke Taishi had recognized the extreme danger of this 100 Realms Immortal Ascension competition and wanted to dissuade him, but they couldn't bring themselves to voice their concerns. This wasn't a mere clash with the younger generation. It was a life or death struggle against Demon Lord Eubaxian. How much chance of winning did he have? Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 6, Battle for the True Inheritance. Chapter 132, 673, Assassination, Chu Yudian. 132nd of Volume 6. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Time passed day by day during the cultivation. The end of the year was now only a month away. At the summit of Spiritual Mountain, where the Cave Void Camp's barracks hall stood, snow fell heavily, and icy winds howled. Inside the hall, however, it was unusually quiet and warm. Xuanhuan glanced at Li Weiyi, then turned his gaze to Yao Qingshan, who stood below. He flicked the calligraphy brush in his hand, sending it flying. To join the Sentinel Spirit Army or the Shaoyang Division, one had to demonstrate their strength. Whoosh! The brush spun through the air, its glow intensifying. In the radiant light, the brush transformed into a humanoid puppet warrior clad in bamboo armor. The moment the puppet warrior landed, it lunged forward with phantom-like speed, unleashing a palm strike with earth-shattering force. The condensed wind formed a colossal palm-shaped shadow that completely enveloped Yao Qingshan. Yao Qingshan's sleeves and dark hair billowed backward. She didn't retreat. Her seemingly fragile frame leaned slightly forward. Raising her right hand, she channeled spiritual qi in a powerful vortex of wind fiend energy from the Lao Gong spring in her palm, unleashing a torrent of immortal sutra scriptures as she met the strike head-on. Boom! Both the puppet warrior and Yao Qingshan were sent flying backward simultaneously. Upon landing, Yao Qingshan didn't pause to regain her balance. Instead, she channeled wind energy, launching herself forward like an arrow. All right. You win. Just don't destroy my brush. Xuanhuan waved his hand, conjuring a screen of spiritual qi mist that repelled Yao Qingshan while simultaneously retracting the puppet war general, transforming it back into a brush. He then resumed his seat and used the brush to add Yao Qingshan's name to the Spirit Sentinel's register. You may withdraw now. I need to speak with Li Weiyi alone for a moment, Xuanhuan said, handing Yao Qingshan the Spirit Sentinel's token and Shaoyang Guard token, both personally crafted by him. Yao Qingshan bowed respectfully and withdrew. Xuanhuan observed Li Weiyi, whose aura had undergone a significant enhancement, and sighed with displeasure. Yu Yaozi has been winning for 1,000 years. She's become too confident, always believing she has everything under control. In truth, this world is never short of cunning and deeply scheming individuals. Her being outmaneuvered by Yu Daojun and Xian Min, and falling victim to the Six Thoughts Heart Spirit Curse, proves she can miscalculate. She can't win every time. Li Weiyi chuckled. I'm not stupid. If I can't win, I'll just toss the Life Spring Jade Scroll out. Would the Grand Palace Master really kill me for that? If Yu Baxian obtains the life-preserving spring and Life Spring, he could extend his life by at least 1,000 years. With that, he could turn his attention to forcing the Void Ruins ancient clan to surrender what he truly desires, the Void Ruins Empress's legacy. This artifact would help him achieve a breakthrough. Only by breaking through can he truly extend his life and become fearless. Xuanhuan continued, if Yu Baxian succeeds in his breakthrough, Zhenhai Guanwu and Yu Yaozi will likely have their cultivation crippled and be taken as concubines in the Xiaoyao Palace, leaving them powerless to resist. He hasn't forgotten the humiliation Zhenhai Guanwu inflicted upon him. The only reason he hasn't acted against Yu Yaozi in the past 1,000 years is because he was restrained by the Holy Emperor and Sword Emperor. Now that Yu Yaozi openly opposes him, the martial mystic Dao Heavenly Emperor's prestige has been utterly shattered. If not for his waning blood qi and depleted life energy, how could he possibly swallow this humiliation? This is a life or death struggle. Neither side can afford to lose. Li Weiyi looked puzzled, unsure where Xuanhuan's loyalties lay. He seemed to oppose Yu Baxian's life extension but held equal disdain for Yu Yaozi. Yu Yaozi is acting recklessly, gambling everything on her ambitions. Or perhaps she's acting out of spite. In the last round, she lost to Yu Daojun, destroying Lingxiao Palace, causing the deaths of billions, and reducing the Lingxiao realm from its glorious peak to utter ruin. Is she trying to win back a round against the Demon Kingdom? To regain her lost face? Xuanhuan, having regained his serene and natural state of mind, waved his hand. It's too late to dissuade you now. Go. Hong Ting has been looking for you, deeply concerned for your safety. She's waiting for you in Night Demon City. Li Wei bid farewell and departed, unaffected by Xuanhuan's words. He knew Yu Yaozi's actions weren't solely driven by ambition, they were also motivated by a desire to save the Holy Hall Life Realm. He couldn't fathom the thinking of those who stood at the transcendent peak in Heavenly Emperor Realm, but he understood that without Yu Yaozi's intervention, the Holy Hall Life Realm and the Void Ruins ancient clan would likely have been sacrificed. Moreover, Yu Yaozi had long since explained her plans to Li Wei. Most importantly, Li Wei suspected Xuanhuan had been influenced by the abbot of the Calamity Crossing Temple. How else would he know Yu Baxian's true motives? The night was bitterly cold, with dark clouds obscuring the stars and moon. Li Wei and Yao Qingshan, clad in invisibility night cloaks, slipped out of the cave void camp and headed toward the holy city of the Crimson Bright Realm. Only there could they find the space teleportation formation leading to the Demon Kingdom. Their stealth wasn't out of fear of the Demon Kingdom. In fact, before the 100 Realms Immortal Ascension competition, the Demon Kingdom would have gone to great lengths to protect Li Wei. If anything happened to him, Yu Yaozi would undoubtedly withdraw the life-preserving spring from the competition. Li Wei's greatest concerns were the Tai Yin sect and the dead spirits. The Tai Yin sect would never allow Yu Baxian to succeed in extending his life. They opposed any strengthening of the Demon Kingdom and sought to prevent armies from the various living realms from converging on the Holy Hall Life Realm. Their goal was to maintain internal strife within the human clan, perpetuate chaos in the Demon Kingdom, and ideally plunge the entire 100 realms of life domain into turmoil. Li Yao and Li Wei stealthily traversed 1,000 miles, finally escaping the Immortal Haze sect forbidden zone. As dawn broke, they stood atop a snow-covered mountain peak, gazing into the distance. Before them lay a vast, flat expanse, while behind them stretched a range of towering mountains. Aren't you being overly cautious? Yao Qingshan asked. This is Cave Void Camp territory. Precisely because we escaped from Cave Void Camp, we must be even more vigilant. The pair braved the icy wind as they descended from the mountains. Over the next day and night, they alternated between earth evasion and stealthy movement under the cover of invisibility night cloaks. Only after confirming they were no longer being pursued did they use the disguise technique, mount the fallen spirit beast carriage, and speed along the official road. The Crimson Bright Realm ranked 10th among medium-sized living realms, surpassing even the 15th ranked Holy Hall Life Realm in both population and land area. However, its overall strength in martial mystic cultivators above the Immortal Realm was slightly weaker. The Void Ruins ancient clan elevated the Holy Hall Life Realm's strength to the top 10 among mid-sized living realms. Living realm rankings refer to their geographical size. 5 days later, Li Wei and Yao Qingshan arrived at Crimson Bright Holy City by carriage. As they entered the city, a top-tier myriad inscriptions artifact, an ancient mirror with the 8 trigrams inscribed on its back, hovered above the city gate, casting a beam of light upon them. The Crimson Bright Realm, situated in the Chaos Zone and surrounded by the Nether Realm of the Dead, naturally required precautions against dead spirit powerhouses infiltrating the holy city to wreak havoc. Once inside the city, the carriage rolled along broad bluestone streets toward the space teleportation formation. Li Wei cast aside all his tension, worries, and pressure, glancing at Yao Qingshan inside the carriage. Master Yao, after years of secluded cultivation in the Nether domain, would you care to sample the delicacies of Crimson Bright Holy City? My treat. No interest. Yao Qingshan replied, since entering the city, I've overheard many cultivators in taverns and teahouses discussing you. It seems the entire world is waiting for you to go to Xiaoyao capital. Li Wei, naturally, had also extended his senses to gather information. It's not hard to guess why the Grand Palace Master would bet the life spring on me. Naturally, it would attract the attention of busybodies. Are you afraid, Master Yao? Yao Qingshan sat calmly in the carriage, her hands resting lightly on her ancestral field as she refined the dragon soul origin light. Her gaze remained cool and detached. After 7 years of cultivation in the Nether domain, aided by the flesh and blood of a demon king, I successfully broke through to the 3rd realm of the Immortal Realm. However, I don't believe my early-stage 3rd Immortal Realm cultivation will be of any help in this situation. Master Yao, you are exceptionally wise, yet even you can be blinded by a single leaf. In truth, you could be of great assistance to me, Li Wei said. Don't speak yet. Let me think for a moment. Yao Qingshan pondered for 4 city blocks, still unable to reach a conclusion. Tell me. I can't figure it out. What if everyone believes the Life Spring Jade Scroll is in my possession, and I deliberately entrust it to you for safekeeping? More importantly, after you've joined the Holy Dynasty's faction and gained the protection of their immortal ascension beings, Li Wei explained. Yao Qingshan replied, I'm not afraid of you killing me, but would you dare entrust the Life Spring Jade Scroll to me? As long as the Demon Kingdom believes you are my pawn, and that I might temporarily entrust the Life Spring Jade Scroll to you, we can draw away some of their forces. Even if we only divert 1/10 of their strength, Master Yao, your value would surpass that of a peak 4th Immortal Realm Martial Mystic Cultivator. After all, a peak 4th Immortal Realm Martial Mystic Cultivator couldn't possibly contend with 1/10 of the Demon Kingdom's 9th generation Immortal Ascension beings, Li Wei explained. Yao Qingshan's voice drifted eerily from within the carriage. I understand now. You truly intend to kill me, but first, you must convince the Demon Kingdom that you might actually do it. Not good. A talisman shot through the alley, striking the moving carriage. Boom. The carriage exploded, leaving a crater several meters wide in the ground. Buildings lining the street instantly crumbled, their walls collapsing and tiles shattering. Within a 20-meter radius, pedestrians were blasted sideways, blood streaming from their 7 orifices as they were flung in disarray. Whoosh. Whoosh. Defensive formation pillars of light erupted skyward across the district. Li Wei and Yao Qingshan had already leapt from the carriage, diving horizontally to evade the attack and landing amidst the dust-choked ruins. The two swiftly rose, unleashing their protective spiritual chi and drawing their battle weapons. What a terrifying talisman. If we'd reacted even a moment later, we'd be dead, Yao Qingshan said, her senses fully extended, scanning their surroundings warily. Before they could activate their spiritual artifacts, a ghostly black figure, radiating bone-chilling cold, darted from the alleyway with a piercing shriek. The figure moved with uncanny agility, his intent clear, to kill Li Wei. Another talisman, like an arrow, shot from his sleeve. Tai Yin True Qi. Li Wei shouted, recognizing the attacker as a member of the Tai Yin sect. He hoped his cry would alert the human transcendence within Crimson Bright Holy City. Simultaneously, Li Wei lunged forward like a furious lion, swinging his sword at the black figure trailing the talisman, his eyes locked on the attacker. He completely ignored the talisman closing in on him. The black figure's expression flickered with surprise. Li Wei isn't afraid of my talismans. This caught him completely off guard. Whoosh. The black figure formed a talisman seal with his left hand, activating the talisman's killing power. With his right hand, he swung a gauntlet-clad fist toward the yellow dragon sword's blade. The talisman, still airborne, flickered briefly before shooting forward like an arrow, piercing Li Wei's protective spiritual chi. The attack failed to penetrate Li Wei's body. The high-grade spiritual talisman Xuanhuan had given him automatically activated a defensive barrier, blocking the strike. Boom. Li Wei staggered back 3 steps. The dark figure was sent flying backward, his toes barely touching the ground as he darted away. Using some secret technique, he rapidly merged into the formation's luminous veil, vanishing into the crowd several streets away in an instant. Li Wei pursued him briefly before stopping and retreating to Yao Qingshan's side. It must have been that spiritual artifact mirror at the city gate that exposed our identities and movements, Yao Qingshan said. Someone has been waiting for us in Crimson Bright Holy City all along. What a strange spell, it completely bypassed the defensive formation. Chu Yutian. Li Wei murmured, his brow furrowed. He had sensed a familiar vital energy within the Tai Yin True Qi emanating from the dark figure, despite the opponent's use of a spiritual artifact similar to Yao Qingshan's smiling Buddha mask, which deliberately concealed the aura of his spiritual qi. Where are the fiends of the Great Yin sect? Are you Li Wei, the Dao Technique successor of Lingxiao Palace? A transcendent and 7 great immortal experts from the city were the first to arrive, appearing above Li Wei and Yao Qingshan. Amidst deafening roars, a massive wave of city guards surged in, sealing off the entire district. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 6. Battle for the True Inheritance. Chapter 133, 674, The Chong Family's Welcome. 133rd of Volume 6. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. Transcendental spiritual chi transformed into wisps of rosy mist, spreading across the city domain like silken threads. It wove through streets, alleys, and buildings, penetrating most formation light veils as it probed and searched. Then, with a weightless descent, he landed before Li Wei and Yao Qingshan. This transcendent wore dark crimson armor and appeared to be in his early 30s. His eyes were calm, yet his presence was awe-inspiring, his entire being radiating a power capable of lifting mountains and moving the moon. Li Wei and Yao Qingshan exchanged glances before bowing respectfully. No need for such formalities, Lu Tianwen said. I am Lu Tianwen of the Lu clan from Crimson Bright Holy City, stationed in South City. By my reckoning, I'm of the same generation as the current first-generation Immortal Ascension beings. The Sentinel Lord informed me of your departure from Cave Void Camp and asked me to keep an eye on you. I expected you to arrive quickly, but after waiting for days, all I got was an assassination attempt. Now I don't know how to explain this to the Sentinel Lord. Lu Tianwen continued to search with his willpower. Li Wei suddenly realized that Lu Tianwen had likely served in the Sentinel Spirit Army as well, which eased some of his suspicions. It seems our disguises were detected by the spiritual artifact Ancient Mirror at the city gate. May I ask who oversees the Ancient Mirror at South City's gate? Lu Tianwen's gaze turned icy, his lips moving slightly as several great immortal experts nearby swiftly moved into action. Yao Qingxian scrutinized him, asking, "May I ask, Lord Lu, have you met Li Wei before? Can you see through his transformation technique? Why did you immediately suspect him? Was it only because the Sentinel Lord sent you a message beforehand?" Teacher Yao truly lives up to her reputation, Li Wei thought to himself, impressed by her audacity to question a transcendent so directly. If she hadn't asked, I would have. Lu Tianwen showed slight surprise, glancing at her. Seeing she remained completely unfazed, he nodded in approval. Single-handedly slaying several Tai Yin envoys and participating in the battle against the Tai Yin sect's true disciples. Moreover, the Grand Palace Master of Lingxiao Palace bestowed upon him the title of Dao Technique Successor. She wagered his life in a gamble against the Demon Kingdom, igniting a global crisis. He has now become one of the 10 most influential figures among the third generation of youth. The Southern Dragon's ascent to Xiaoyao capital is a major event being closely watched by all factions. The title, Southern Dragon, stems from 2 reasons. First, his origins in the far south, and second, his war weapon, the Yellow Dragon Sword. When he drew his sword just now, a golden light soared to the heavens, and a dragon's roar shook the earth. Even from dozens of miles away, I instantly recognized his identity. Li Wei had never been thrust into such a precarious position, and he couldn't help but smile bitterly to himself. Though he appeared to be the center of the world's attention, riding the crest of unparalleled fame, a single misstep could plunge him into an abyss of eternal darkness. After a long silence, 2 great immortal beings clad in full armor swooped down and landed before Lu Tianwen. They retrieved over a dozen decaying corpses from their cosmic pouches and arranged them neatly on the ground. Every cultivator guarding the South City Gate had been silenced, including a great holy spiritual master. Lu Tianwen examined each corpse meticulously, searching for clues. His face was as cold and hard as iron. There must be a powerful mastermind behind this assassination, hiding within Crimson Bright Holy City. 3 years ago, Chu Yudian sent coffins containing the bodies of the Sentinel Spirit Army he had slaughtered to Crimson Bright Holy City, then calmly departed, vanishing without a trace. At the time, some speculated that a high-ranking figure from the Tai Yin sect might be hiding within the city. Now, that theory has been confirmed. Li Wei's pupils constricted as he glanced at Yao Qingxian, secretly relieved. Fortunately, Yao Qingxian hadn't agreed to join him for a meal at some fancy restaurant. The assassin had clearly seen them heading straight for the space teleportation formation. Pressed for time and unable to notify their superiors, they had acted immediately. Had they lingered in the city for a meal, the attacker might have been a transcendent. Of course, this was highly unlikely. Attempting an assassination within Crimson Bright Holy City was far too risky. It was precisely this reason that Li Wei had immediately suspected Chu Yudian when he sensed the familiar resonance of Tai Yin True Qi. Only a hatred as deep as the sea could drive someone to such reckless measures. Now that their movements were completely exposed, Li Wei felt no urgency. He and Lu Tianwen settled into the Lu clan's residence, calmly awaiting the investigation results while also giving the Demon Kingdom's experts on the other side of the space teleportation formation time to prepare. This would prevent another assassination attempt by the Tai Yin sect upon their arrival. The Lu clan was one of the ancient clans of the Crimson Bright Realm. Lu Qing, the Shaoyang guard who had died in the Void Ruins ancient kingdom, was born into this clan. After 3 days at the Lu clan, Li Wei requested maps of the Demon Kingdom and the Chaos Zone. He received a thick stack of dozens of charts, which he studied meticulously. The original plan was to teleport to Crescent Moon Pass in the Demon Kingdom, then travel north by carriage, studying the formation strength and defense systems of the Demon Kingdom's prefecture cities, prefecture capitals, and county towns along the way. They would also investigate the customs, languages, and attire of various villages and market towns, as well as the underground conditions and river systems, to better prepare for their retreat after the new year. Now, that plan had to be abandoned. The other investigation, naturally, yielded no results. Crimson Bright Holy City was densely populated, with thousands of factions and a chaotic mix of people. Hiding within it was like searching for a needle in the ocean. Some of the mansions were even inaccessible to Lu Tianwen. 3 days later, Li Wei, escorted by Lu Tianwen, arrived at the space teleportation formation located in the heart of Crimson Bright Holy City. My duty ends here. The Sentinel Lord asked me to tell you that the Cave Void Camp will conduct a thorough investigation to unearth the powerful figure hiding in Crimson Bright Holy City. The ancient sects and ancient clans of the Crimson Bright Realm will also launch internal probes to eliminate hidden threats, Lu Tianwen said. Thank you for your hospitality and escort these past 3 days, Captain Lu, Li Wei replied. In the Sentinel Spirit Army, all Sentinel Spirit seniors were addressed as Captain, out of respect, regardless of whether they had ever held the rank. After bidding farewell, Li Wei and Yao Qingshan stepped into the space teleportation formation. Southern Demon Kingdom, Crescent Moon Pass. Whoosh. As the radiant glow of the space teleportation formation faded, its residual spiritual pressure still lingered. A familiar, hearty laugh erupted from beyond the array. Brother Wei. When I heard about the assassination attempt in Crimson Bright Holy City, I rode at full gallop from Xiaoyao Jing, covering thousands of miles to Night Demon City. From there, I teleported straight to Crescent Moon Pass. If Third Uncle hadn't stopped me, I would have charged straight to Crimson Bright Holy City. Li Wei turned to see Chong Yujian standing outside the space teleportation formation, having waited for an unknown duration. A smile spread across his face as he strode forward. So you're this happy about my assassination attempt? Planning to become the Third Holy Commander? The Demon Kingdom was an unfamiliar and dangerous land, but the moment Li Wei saw his old friend, all his anxieties vanished into thin air. Surviving a near-death experience is definitely worth celebrating. Welcome to the Demon Kingdom. Chong Yujian spread his arms wide. The two men collided in a shoulder-to-shoulder embrace. Even knowing they might one day become mortal enemies, they remained friends in the present. How long have you been waiting? Just half a day. A large contingent of Chong clan experts had gathered near the space teleportation formation, having arrived with Chong Yujian. There were over a dozen of them, each radiating dragon-like vigor and tiger-like ferocity, their auras surging wildly. Some wore demon armor, while others were clad in ornate robes. Even the commander of Crescent Moon Pass sat in a carriage at the street corner, wary of any unforeseen incidents. Chong Ji, Chong Yujian's third uncle, stood out in his dark cyan martial attire. His weathered face bore sharp, chiseled features, and a deep vertical line etched between his brows, the mark of years spent in focused contemplation and furrowed concentration. As the Chong clan's most formidable mid-generation expert, Chong Ji rarely smiled. After scrutinizing Li Wei for a moment, he rebuked Chong Yujian. Going to Crimson Bright Holy City will only cause trouble. Chong Yujian dared not jest in Chong Ji's presence. He solemnly introduced Li Wei. This is my third uncle, Chong Ji, responsible for escorting us. If the Taiyan sect dares to act recklessly within the Demon Kingdom's territory, they'll never return alive. I've long heard of Mr. Ji's renown from Brother Chong, Li Wei said, clasping his hands in a respectful bow. This junior is deeply honored. Countless thoughts raced through Li Wei's mind. The fact that someone of Chong Ji's stature had been dispatched to greet and escort them underscored the immense significance of the Southern Dragon's ascent to Xiaoyao capital, at least within the Demon Kingdom itself. Li Wei had truly heard of Chong Ji's legendary exploits. Though not an ancient demon who had lived for thousands of years, Chong Ji possessed power at that level. Facing Li Wei, Chong Ji adopted a different demeanor. A friendly smile softened his piercing eyes, which seemed to see through all illusions. Don't feel any pressure, he said, just pretend I'm not here. My only duty is to ensure your safety. I won't interfere in anything else. Let's go. The carriages are ready. We'll discuss the details once we reach Night Demon City. And who is this? Chong Yujian noticed Yao Qingshan standing beside Li Wei, sensing an extraordinary aura emanating from her. Xuanhuan, the newly recruited Xiaoyang guard, Li Wei replied. I thought. Never mind. Ha ha. Chong Yujian immediately felt a sense of kinship with Yao Qingshan and ordered a separate carriage prepared for her. Then, he pulled Li Wei into his own carriage, and they departed through the gates of Crescent Moon Pass. Inside the spacious carriage, the floor was covered with a snow rhinoceros fur carpet, and the walls were inlaid with warm jade. A small table stood in the center, laden with both tea and wine, all of exceptional quality. After escaping the Void Ruins ancient kingdom with the Chun Cocoon's aid, Chong Yujian had broken through to the third realm of the immortal realm and had since made further significant progress. He sat on the right side of the carriage, avoiding the main topic. Clearly unsure how to begin, he poured wine for Li Wei as he spoke. The Demon Kingdom strictly regulates space teleportation formations, absolutely forbidding dead spirit transcendents from using them to directly enter the kingdom's heartland. Therefore, we must travel to Hozhou Prefecture City, a state away from Crescent Moon Pass, to teleport to Night Demon City, still 1,000 miles from Xiaoyao capital. Now you know how far I've traveled to meet you. Try this, drunk immortal. No poison or curses, I hope. Li Wei asked with a smile, raising his wine cup. Chong Yujian sighed. If the founding ancestor had truly ordered me to do that, it would have been much easier. We could have simply drunk together. I didn't want to come, but I had no choice. I know these words are futile, yet I must speak them. Don't trouble yourself. I can guess what you want to say. What benefits has the Chong clan offered you? Li Wei asked. The formation beneath the carriage activated, lifting it into the air and propelling it forward. Chong Yujian exhaled a long, turbid breath. If you hand over the jade tome of the life-preserving spring to the Chong clan, we will grant you any condition you desire. I am merely the messenger, but I know that once these words are spoken, our friendship will end. Perhaps that's for the best, it will spare us any hesitation when we inevitably clash. Li Wei drank half the wine in his cup, his focused expression softening into a smile. Any condition. What benefits has the demon monarch offered that are worth such a price? Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 6. Battle for the True Inheritance. Chapter 134, 675 Night Demon City. 134th of Volume 6. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. The demon monarch has issued an imperial decree. Whoever claims either the life-preserving spring or the life spring will be granted a supreme opportunity to ascend as a heavenly emperor. This decree has driven all the world's top transcendents into a frenzy, and it has placed you at odds with the entire world. Even the demon consort was alarmed and personally summoned me to act as a mediator. I had no choice but to come. Chong Yujian downed 3 cups of strong wine in quick succession, slamming the cup down heavily before continuing. Among the living beings of southern Yingzhou, there are 10 martial mystic Dao heavenly emperors and 28 heavenly emperors. The demon race, rice people, and other races account for half of these positions. Becoming a heavenly emperor is a cornerstone of the human race, granting a significant boost to combat prowess, perception, lifespan, and more. To speak blasphemy, in the eyes of the human race's upper echelons, a young heavenly emperor nearing their prime is far more valuable than a martial mystic Dao heavenly emperor nearing the end of their lifespan. After all, reaching the status of heavenly emperor requires only a single catalyst to ascend as a martial mystic Dao heavenly emperor. Precisely. Yu Yaozi, the Grand Palace Master of Lingxiao Palace, achieved the rank of one of southern Yingzhou's top 10 human powerhouses at the age of 3000. She is highly revered by the human race's upper echelons, and the lords of all life realms unanimously regard her as the sole candidate to succeed the Holy Emperor as the human race's foremost powerhouse in 10,000 years. Before the turmoil in the Lingxiao realm, no one dared question this. Becoming a heavenly emperor was the ultimate step for a transcendent aspiring to become the martial mystic Dao heavenly emperor. Such allure could indeed drive many to madness. Li Wei pondered for a moment, then chuckled. I never imagined I'd suddenly become so valuable. If I obtain both the jade tomes of the life spring and the life-preserving spring, what reward awaits me then? Surely the demon monarch doesn't possess 2 opportunities to ascend to heavenly emperor. I refuse to believe it. What are you trying to say, brother Wei? Chong Yujian asked. Li Wei replied, I've sensed the demon monarch's urgency and unease, his lack of confidence in securing both springs simultaneously. Doesn't this suggest I have a chance to prevail? You always manage to find a silver lining in the darkest clouds, Chong Yujian said with a wry smile. Among our generation, I hold you in the highest regard. I believe no one can surpass you. Yet even so, I must say you have no chance of winning. I don't want to lose a friend. Don't think I'm about to start lecturing you, I desperately want to, but any words of advice from me would only sound hollow. Let's drink. Then let's drown our sorrows in wine, Li Wei said, raising his cup in a toast. This time, they drained their cups in one gulp. Xiaoyao capital, densely layered with ancient formations, was an ancient immortal sacred realm. Its dimensional level surpassed that of the demon kingdom's major prefectures, and space within it was rigidly fixed, rendering all spatial teleportation methods ineffective. Cultivators from across the realm were required to first transit through the prefecture cities of the 3 surrounding provinces. The closest of these to Xiaoyao capital was Night Demon City. Due to its strategic location, Night Demon City far surpassed ordinary prefecture cities in prosperity. With a population of 10 million, it boasted a dense concentration of spiritual qi and served as a gathering point for martial mystic Dao experts from all directions. Li Wei emerged from the space teleportation formation with the Chong clan, the sky already dark. Gazing upon the ancient prefecture city under the night sky, his eyes were dazzled by its brilliance, and his ears rang with its clamor. This was the gateway to Xiaoyao capital. The sky above was perpetually shrouded by formations, making even walking difficult for ordinary low-level spring surge realm martial mystic cultivators. Yet when he looked up, streams of multicolored light crisscrossed the sky, carriages, boats, and strange bird mounts soaring through the air, a testament to the city's hidden depths and formidable power. Though the Cloud Heaven Immortal Plain offered a superior cultivation environment compared to Xiaoyao capital, its peak prosperity struggled to surpass that of Night Demon City. This mere transit prefecture city struck Li Wei with a humbling display of power, as if to remind him of the demon kingdom's overwhelming might, a force that could not be shaken by a single man and his sword. It's getting late. Shall we stay the night? Chong Yujian suggested. Li Wei glanced at him, sensing he had other plans. Remembering Zhuang Xian's words that Zuoqiu Hongting was also waiting for him in Night Demon City, he nodded in agreement. The group boarded 7 luxurious carriages prepared by the Chong clan, forming a grand procession. Escorted by city guards, they set off toward their destination. Along the main street, wide enough for 6 carriages to travel abreast, pavilions lined both sides, taverns and inns bustled with activity, and spiritual artifact shops floated in midair. Cultivators from various regions and races were everywhere, including members of the demon race and dead spirits. Inside the carriage, Chong Yujian turned to Li Wei, who was gazing out the window. Many matters can only be discussed in Night Demon City. Once we enter Xiaoyao capital, we'll all lose our freedom. Besides, we might not have any leisure time left. Didn't you say you wouldn't try to persuade me? Li Wei withdrew his gaze and straightened his back, looking at him. Chong Yujian smiled mysteriously. You'll understand once we get there. The procession halted outside the immortal forest at the heart of Night Demon City. Li Wei, Chong Yujian, Yao Qingshan, and the Chong clan's elite cultivators disembarked. Looking up, they saw that the immortal forest's main hall had been constructed on the horizontal branches of an ancient, 10,000-year-old tree. With upturned eaves, jade steps, and brilliant lanterns, the magnificent structure resembled a celestial palace. Chong Ji was nowhere to be seen, having slipped away unnoticed. Yet he was undoubtedly lurking in the shadows, perhaps waiting for his prey to take the bait. The master builders of Thousand Mile Mountain are always so ostentatious, afraid they won't attract wealthy fools willing to spend their money, Li Wei remarked. Let me make it clear up front. I don't have a pure immortal physique, so I might not be able to enter. I've only ever been to the heavenly pavilion before. Rumble. Another lion-drawn carriage procession sped toward them from behind, the ground trembling beneath its approach. A sinister yet flamboyant voice rang out. If the immortal forest of Night Demon City lacks such discernment, it might as well close its doors. The carriage servants dismounted and knelt, prostrating themselves at the carriage door. Wenren Tinghai stepped down, his crimson robes like fresh blood and a black brocade cloak draped over his shoulders. His smiling face framed eyes brimming with confidence and authority, as if he had completely forgotten their past grievances. He approached Li Wei and greeted him warmly. Brother Wei, it's been a while. Tinghai apologizes for any past offenses. Name your price, and I'll redeem my enmity with coin. The coldness in Li Wei's eyes vanished, replaced by a smile. The Wenren clan is the ancient clan, richer than nations. I won't hold back. If I demanded a supreme artifact, Lord Tinghai would curse my greed in secret. But a myriad inscriptions artifact should be reasonable, right? Wenren Tinghai's smile froze for a moment, then blossomed even brighter. If Brother Wei is willing to trade the jade tome of the life-preserving spring, we'd consider any price, even more than a supreme artifact. Now you've got me interested. Li Wei replied. Wenren Tinghai met his gaze, then glanced at Chong Yujian standing beside Li Wei. He chuckled. The Chong clan lacks sincerity, sending a junior to greet you, Brother Wei. For such a momentous matter, if you're truly interested, I'll report this to our superiors. Once we reach Xiaoyao capital, our transcendents will personally discuss terms with you. Tonight, let's enjoy the scenery and conversation, no talk of grudges or profit. How does that sound? Allow me to introduce you, Wenren Tinghai continued. This is Shan Sheng, the heavenly mandate of the Nine Abyss Life Realm. And this is Qiyuan, grandson of the Flying Phoenix Demon Empress. Li Wei had already noticed Qiyuan accompanying Wenren Tinghai, but he didn't even bother with a perfunctory smile. We meet again, Brother Kai. Are you planning to participate in the human race's 100 Realms Immortal Ascension competition as a mount? You're really asking for death. The insult was scathing. Flames erupted in Qiyuan's scarlet, gem-like eyes as his fourth immortal realm mid-phase martial mystic chi surged forth. A piercing, resonant phoenix cry echoed from within his body. Li Wei never imagined that Qiyuan could reach such a realm in less than 2 years since leaving the Void Ruins ancient kingdom. His gaze turned icy, and he clenched his fingers, preparing to unleash a finger force. Wenren Tinghai raised his arm, releasing an invisible force that enveloped Qiyuan's shoulder, dissolving the surging qi and flames erupting from his body. He chuckled. Brother Qiyuan, we agreed tonight was for enjoyment, not violence. From the gate atop the jade steps of the Immortal Grove, a young Immortal Realm martial mystic cultivator of the Ink Moon clan emerged, followed by 7 breathtaking immortal attendants, each vying for attention with their dazzling beauty, none bearing a hint of vulgarity. He called out, Brother Wenren, this Chu has been waiting 2 days for you. I've kept all 7 of our most beautiful immortal attendants here. Won't you come in? Just as I expected, you're the most reliable. Brother Wei, why not join us? All the beauties are on our side, Wenren Tinghai offered warmly. Li Wei replied, you're afraid Qiyuan and I will fight, harm the ladies, and ruin your elegant evening. Wenren Tinghai, still holding onto the still furious Qiyuan, laughed heartily and ascended the jade steps of the Immortal Grove. The young man known as the heavenly mandate of the Nine Abyss Life Realm, Shan Sheng, arrived early. With his short cropped hair and plain robes, he was unassuming and remarkably quiet. As he passed Li Wei, their eyes met briefly. In that fleeting moment, Li Wei experienced a strange sensation, as if time had stopped, his heart filling with an indescribable peace and tranquility. His mind is being influenced by them. Impressive. Yao Qingshan murmured, her gaze fixed on the figures at the top of the jade steps. Li Wei asked intently, who are you referring to, Master Yao? Each one more formidable than the last, Yao Qingshan replied. Li Wei shared this sentiment. He turned to Chang Yujian and asked, what treasure did Wenren Moqing use to cultivate Wenren Tinghai to such a level in less than 2 years? Less than 2 years. Chang Yujian echoed meaningfully, then added, you must understand, when top-tier transcendents truly focus, they can elevate a fourth immortal realm heavenly pride to any height. The opportunities we so-called young heavenly emperors and imperial disciples possess are merely the scraps they let fall. Clearly, Li Wei wasn't the only one preparing for battle, his enemies were also giving their all. Li Wei, Chang Yujian, and 4 other young cultivators from the Chang clan set off into the immortal forest. Yao Qingshan chose to remain in the carriage. As Li Wei and Chang Yujian walked side by side up the wide jade steps, they felt no hint that these were actually the trunk and branches of an ancient tree. Along the way, young martial mystic cultivators from the immortal realm passed by, casting curious glances at Li Wei and Chang Yujian, as if they had guessed their identities. They remained composed, showing no outward emotion. The demon kingdom has offered benefits that no young heavenly pride could refuse, Chang Yujian said. Qiyuan and Shan Shenzh were drawn here by these very rewards. Can you tell me about them? Li Wei asked. Of course. Chang Yujian replied, the demon monarch has promised that any true disciple-level cultivator under 100 years old who joins the demon kingdom's formation during the 100 Realms Immortal Ascension competition will receive all the precious resources needed to reach the other shore realm. Moreover, they'll receive 30% of these resources up front. Do you understand what this means? Li Wei paused for a moment. If I were in their position, I might have come to compete for this opportunity myself. Chang Yujian added, furthermore, cultivators who reach the 4th immortal realm or demonstrate exceptional combat prowess will also receive substantial rewards. You know, every word you say sounds like a warning, yet every word also sounds like an invitation, Li Wei remarked, are you trying to scare me back to the Lingxiao realm to hide? Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.